On August 12, 2015, Capcom announced that it would be starting production on remaking the fan-favorite Resident Evil 2, a game I heard a lot about but never got to play given the time. You see, I grew up playing Resident Evil 5, and it wasn't even until last year where I finally got to play the classic Resident Evil 4, which is arguably the fan-favorite of the series. I remember the anticipation this time last year from fans expecting an update on the remake any month now, and June brought us the goods. Nearly 3 years after the project was greenlit, we finally got to see the project come into fruition, as it was fully revealed on Sony's stage. Coming off of Resident Evil 4, the game immediately caught my interest, as I couldn't wait to play as Leon again, but this time learn how his story started. Flash forward to present, and did the game come through? Was Raccoon City as good as I heard? Here is my review on Resident Evil 2.
If you see one of those things, uniform or not, you take it out.
Before we begin this review, I'd like to state that this review will be based off my experience playing the Leon A and Claire B campaigns. I'm not trying to have some diehard fans get at me for only playing half the story, so this is where I'm coming from. Also, apparently Claire A and Leon B is canon. I learned this halfway through my B playthrough. I don't think it really makes that much of a difference, but yeah, that's where I'm coming from. I played Leon A and Claire B. So the Resident Evil games have always been known for their tension and grounded gameplay to me. This is why it's kind of frustrating to see the series go in a lot more silly direction with 5 and more so 6. Luckily, Resident Evil 7 brought the game back to its roots 2 years ago, and Resident Evil 2 is more of Capcom's commitment to that. The games aren't scary by say, they're just very uncomfortable to play as you just don't know what will be behind every corner. It's this loop of gameplay that stays consistent throughout, as previous enemies you defeated can come back alive, making routes unpredictable. I can't tell you how many times I've had to open up my map and cross off possible directions I can go to, due to me knowing what I left there and ran away from and possibly could still be roaming there. Resident Evil 2 is not a point A to B game like I originally thought going in. It's a constant battle of trying to outsmart the game as you maneuver around new and familiar locations. Tight corridors and dead ends along with zombies that could take anywhere from 1 to half a dozen bullets can lead to some oh shit moments as you quickly decide how you want to handle each encounter. In a way, this game's kinda like a sandbox, letting the player choose how they want to play the game given what they have. The gameplay itself is super solid, gunshots feel satisfying, and the half a dozen guns or so in the game for the most part all feel vastly different from one another. Popping off zombie heads confirming the kill is something that even 15 hours in never gets old. There is the occasional brain-dead AI, no pun intended, but for the most part, you know exactly how an enemy is going to react if you get close to it, and that makes avoiding it that much more terrifying. Of course, there is the wild card, Mr. X, the Tyrant. The game just loves to spice up your playthrough and drop him in your world and just have him constantly search for you. These moments of gameplay come off as the most memorable, as Mr. X makes a herd of zombies sound way more fun. What made this experience that much better was the mystery of it all. I intently didn't expose myself to the game or the original classic until I was able to beat it myself, and I'm really glad I did that. It's the best way to experience any kind of game, but for this remake in particular, it holds true. The story of Resident Evil 2 is pretty simple. It's Leon Kennedy's first day on the job as a cop, and he runs into Claire Redfield, who happens to be looking for her police officer brother. How the stories intertwine is very loose, and overall the ties between Leon and Claire's campaigns are very odd, but I just learned to just see them as optional what-if scenarios. I think Capcom threaded the needle with how many cutscenes or story beats in the game really well. There's not many, but just enough. You aren't playing Resident Evil 2 for the story, but it does well more than enough to set up why you're doing what you're doing. Completing both campaigns is pretty much necessary. While I wish the B campaign changed it up a bit more than what it does, as you'll often be going through aspects of the game and just seeing deja vu moments way too much, a playthrough of it is pretty much required if you want an actual decent ending to the game. Resi 2 is a gorgeous game, you all know that from the opening minutes. It plays great and it looks stunning. I love the art style and the tone of colors they went for it. Resident Evil 7 was like Paranormal Activity in a way with the yellows, the browns, and the oranges. Resident Evil 4 gave you like a foreign look with the orange browns, and the game's tone of colors got darker towards the end. I just love how Resident Evil 2 pretty much goes with the black, the blue, the silver, the green. It's all there. It's just kind of different from the other games in the series personally of what I've played so far. I've recently been playing through some of Capcom's older titles, the DMC series in fact. In anticipation for Devil May Cry 5, I'm currently playing through DMC 2. A game that is visually dead, vacant, and has no life to it at all. It just comes off as way too open and uninspiring. I find this comparison relevant because of the choice for more tighter and restricted areas with the Resident Evil 2 remake. It's almost a perfect example of what makes the level design in the remake so good. Playing through the original DMC 2 really made me appreciate just how alive Raccoon City really is. That being said, I'm going to contradict myself here a bit. I do wish there were a bit more outside sections in the game, if I'm being honest. I could see the choice for more tight and close environments that lead to better gameplay, but if I'm being honest, some of my most fondest memories of Resident Evil 2 was finally being able to explore the outside for a bit. It's probably just a personal decision, but it's the rain, I tell you, it's the fucking rain. I love it. The music in some of Capcom's older titles are just something to reminisce on. Serenity and Resident Evil 4 immediately comes to my mind. With the remake, Resident Evil 2 holds up in this regard. There's a couple songs that just stick with you throughout the campaign. Mr. X's theme is intimidating as hell, and the save room theme is definitely a piece you're gonna get used to. You're gonna be there a lot.
Jesus Christ.
I think I just gave anyone who played this game some good PTSD, my bad. While we're on the topic of music, the sound design is superb in Resident Evil 2. You hear that? You're fucked, mate. The sounds are the worst. They are probably what caught me off guard the most on both playthroughs. I don't think sound design has scarred me this much since the original Last of Us. That being said, vertical sounds have some issues in my opinion. There's no greater kick in the balls than running up the stairs due to you hearing Mr. X down below, but then you just run straight into his arms. He was actually up above. Fun. The Resident Evil 2 Remake is one of my favorite Resident Evil games of all time. It truly stands up there close to 4. It's a game I feel confident in recommending to anybody who is even remotely interested in any sort of single player experience. It will push you in new ways you didn't see coming, and it's a ride worth experiencing. I'd be lying if I said the game was perfect, but at the same time I struggle to think of many things it does wrong. It's a really focused game that only strives to hit one mark, and that's to make a good survival horror, and it does that really damn well. Capcom's commitment to supporting the game with free DLC is so far solid. The Ghost Survivor update just recently dropped this past weekend, and from the couple of hours I've given it so far, it's short but really addicting. It gives the game just that much more replayability on top of the already polished and finished game. 2019 is already off to a great start, and I can only hope that this success will lead to Capcom remaking Nemesis as well. Thank you for watching my Resident Evil 2 Remake review. If you enjoyed this review, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribed if you have not yet already done so. I've been Online, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.